is my religion. Not that I excluded God from my religion or from my politics. It's just the opposite. That my politics is my religion. That what would Jesus do? Where do you think Jesus would fall in lines under capitalism, under a constitution? Of course, Jesus can be in other nations. That he's a socialist there, he's a communist there, he's a dictator there. What would Jesus do under capitalism, under the Constitution? Being an American, what was his politics? What would his politics indeed be? Now, that was the whole idea of Yeshua Party, that I would try to take out all the devils or whatever that indeed seem to take over both parties. You know, if you why can you not be a Democrat, but if you're not against babies getting murdered in the womb, you can't care about the poor. Uh, you can't care about the poor to help the Democrats because you're against abortion. No, see that stuff. What? Why? No, the whole thing is that they're talking right now about, well, politicians, right? That politicians, well, they get to use social media without interference, without interference. Really? What about people like me that do politics that is not allowed to get on a roll, a voter roll? That you have to use the internet to get people believing in you, to back you, to therefore be a candidate. If the process picks the candidates, it says, oh, we'll allow this person or this person to do their politics, and then therefore they can be lifted up to be a candidate, even at the level of a candidate. You have to have freedom of internet use, the freedom of intellectual reason and arguments and debate. Now, if you shut down only candidates can, well, who gets to choose the candidates? Big tech gets to say, well, we'll allow this person to get a certain crowd to follow him because he may have hit a knee to us. Well, it's coming back on. Let's see what they say.
To authorize emergency use of their COVID vaccine for kids ages 5 to 11. The company says they are submitting data supporting the change to the FDA. The agency has scheduled a meeting on October 26th to consider it. An FDA ruling is expected as
The whole
early as
idea
Halloween.
is
The Pfizer jab is currently
in
approved for anyone
Texas,
over
they're
the
saying,
age
oh,
of
well,
12.
candidates
LA
deserve
County Sheriff Alex
unaltered
Villanueva says he will not
ability to
enforce the
use
city's
social media.
vaccine
Everyone
mandate on his
does.
own deputies.
Everyone, not just candidates.
I'm not forcing anyone. The issue has become so politicized. There are entire groups of employees that are willing to be fired and laid off rather than get vaccinated. So I don't want to be in a position to lose 5-10% of my workforce overnight on a vaccine mandate.
Villanueva says his department is already understaffed over the push to defund the police.
So the Babylon Bee comes to bat for Ron DeSantis, filing a brief to support the Florida governor as he aims to crack down on big tech.
Seth Dillon, the CEO of the Babylon Bee, live with us now. Seth, great to have you on the program. Why is this fight an existential one for a satire site like yours?
Well, for us in particular, I mean, we face some of these censorship problems. You know, we faced challenges with fact checks being abused to try to get us, deplatformed and knocked off the platform. There's new policies now that are aimed at curbing and minimizing hate speech, but really they're going to affect satire like ours because they consider some of our jokes punching down because we aim at some of their sacred cows. So there's a lot of reasons why it's a big deal.
There's a lot of power and
I mean, we
humor.
could very easily
They hate their
many
political
times.
opponents being
we
funny.
are actively being throttled on Facebook.
We can do it this way. Big tech is political. We can prove it many times over with their donations and giving Democrat candidates. They're political in nature, so they're being biased against people with different politics. Therefore, that's criminal behavior.
Be able to have the freedom that you want on these platforms, or what do you think your end game should be?
I think the end game should be to basically restore the original intended.
Zuckerberg is for open borders.
Which was to give
I am for a wall.
A shield from liability.
Therefore, when he takes out my videos and selects, oh, well, he's not allowed to talk about that. No, no, no. He's being political. He's shutting down the political arena illegally and unmorally.
Objectively obscene or lewd content. They're engaging in politically motivated viewpoint discrimination.
But a child can have their hand on a penis, but I can't say, yes, we need a wall to protect us from a variant, some other country infecting the human petri dish with a variant that can wipe out Americans and America.
The same thing applies with Section 230. The big concern for these big tech companies is that their free speech rights are being restricted and that they're having to carry messages that they don't want to carry on their platforms. But really they are, Justice Thomas has argued, they're places of public accommodation at this point. They are the public square, and they're going to need to carry these messages in an indiscriminate way where they're not just knocking down viewpoints that they don't like.
And to deal with that, here are the tentpoles of the Florida law. Big tech will be fined up to $250,000 per day for deplatforming political candidates.
Why candidates? Who gets to pick the candidates? You have to get people behind you. You have to start out somewhere online. You have to get people to believe what you believe.
Consequences to our country if we don't rein in big tech.
Maybe this is just a grace to grace to grace. At first, our leaders have to have freedom of the internet.
It'll either be resolved because Congress
and then at other people.
Language to make it a little bit more explicit about what needs to happen there. Good faith is kind of vague. There's other language in there like otherwise objectionable, which can kind of be used as an umbrella term to affect everything or cover everything. But I'm optimistic that there is going to be a solution. It may be the Supreme Court where they have to rule on this and give a proper interpretation of what Section 230 means.
My understanding, I'm going underneath the government of a capitalist constitution. These big tech platforms, social media, if it's Jesus, that his reign is coming in, and he has rules and regulations, well, damn straight. That's indeed that, well, not damn, but yes, indeed, that Jesus is king. He's Lord, and his rules are what we abide by.
Thank you.
All right, now let's go to a live look at the